Now for what's tipping the scales of justice this morning, we're focusing on Bionca Ellis. This woman was just convicted of murdering 3-year-old Julian Wood by stabbing the toddler to death in the parking lot of a busy grocery store in the Cleveland area. Let's take a listen to her defense attorneys, Fernando Mack and Carlos Johnson, in the courtroom.
She acknowledges through her lawyers, whether she testifies or not, that she's responsible for the murder of Julian. She acknowledges through her lawyers that she's responsible for the attempted murder of Margot. There's no running away from that. That's not what this trial is about. The evidence will show, though, that it is obvious that she was insane at the time of the offense.
This is a sad sequence of events that somehow it could have been prevented, but it wasn't. So we're stuck with what happened. And what happened was a tragedy. And it wasn't because she wanted to kill someone. It wasn't because she set out that day to kill someone. She told you, and you're gonna hear in the video, she goes, I didn't think I would throw my life away like this. I had other plans.
Now, I said it before, I'll say it again. One thing was for sure in that trial. Bionca Ellis had great counsel. I was very impressed with those attorneys, and that is why I've invited them on the program this morning. I want to welcome in now attorneys Fernando Mack and Carlos Johnson. Good morning to you both. And might I just start by commending you on a very well-tried, difficult case, and you two really shined. So thank you for coming on the program and talking to us after that verdict the other day that many of our viewers thought really could have gone either way. So I want to start with just your reactions to the verdict. Fernando, I'll begin with you, please.
Yeah, Julie, first of all, thank you for having us and good morning. We respect the jury's findings in this case. We know that they worked hard. We know that it was a difficult set of facts. There's nothing more powerful in the business that we do than the death of a child. And we knew that that would be a huge obstacle. And we spent a lot of time in the beginning of the case and at the end of the case talking about that in order for them to understand, to get to the next point. But I will say this, they don't have the opportunity to understand that somebody that's found not guilty by reason of insanity, they don't just walk back out to the streets. They ultimately end up being hospitalized for a very lengthy period of time, sometimes as long as it takes for someone to be incarcerated. So that's a little bit of a disadvantage, but we respect their verdict, but at the same time, we disagree with it.
Understood, and appreciate you sharing that with us. That's something we talk about often on this program, about how jurors might think, oh gosh, if I let someone go and don't convict them, then they're going to be walking among us and present another danger. And as you noted, Fernando, just not the case. Carlos, I want to go to you. Your reaction on the verdict, please.
Well, again, we respect the process. It was a sad case all the way around. I mean, a young child died, for no reason, but for her mental health. And I think the jury possibly got it wrong. I think our doctors was correct. I mean, she's a sick woman. She's been sick for a long time. And Fernando and I had an opportunity to meet her when she was at one of her worst points. And once forced medication got involved, she was a totally different person. I mean, totally articulate, a sweet young lady. You would never think she could harm a fly if you met the lady on medication.
That's interesting you say that, Carlos. A follow-up, please. As we were looking at the video there, and I made this remark on the program, she looked medicated to me when we were watching her at trial, very different than how she looked at some of the pre-trial hearings. And I believe early on, it may have been before you both were appointed to the case, very early on. I know you know the video where she was seen like kind of smirking at the camera. It went viral. It was a video that national outlets picked up, and everybody was saying, wow, is this an evil woman? And then you contrast that video with what we see here, and she looks so calm and so subdued. Carlos, can you tell us, was she medicated throughout the trial?
She was. We took breaks to make sure her medication remained on schedule. You wouldn't have noticed, but the judge synchronized breaks for the jury so she could go down into the jail to make sure she was administered her medication. And she was heavily medicated. She didn't communicate much with us, but she did communicate.
Fernando, tell us, what do you think the biggest misconception about this case was?
Yeah, I think that we live in a country still where we have to educate people about mental health. And, you know, the schizophrenia. She has been mentally ill since she was age 22. And I think that a lot of jurors believe that someone with mental illness still has the ability to commit these crimes even while they are psychotic, having these episodes. And I just think that it's just a lot of misunderstanding, misinformation as it relates to mental health.
Sure. Carlos, let me ask you, please, on October 27th, when you and Fernando go with Bionca to her sentencing, what do you plan to ask the judge for?
Well, we have a ton of information we want to share. He already heard most of the information regarding her mental health, her struggle on and off medication. Obviously, we're going to ask for the least sentence that he would impose. We don't know where he might be. He has a long range of sentencing up into life in prison, which is on the table. And we're worried about her mental health, that they maintain her meds compliance while she's in an institution or prison, because we don't want her to go back to that state that you see on the screen where she just is out of it.
Sure. I wondered if there might be a specific prison you have in mind that perhaps has programs for mental health for someone like her. We just have a couple of seconds. Is there a place?
The DOC decides where they go. They'll do an assessment once she gets to Marion Correctional Institution for Women, and they'll make a decision where she should go for the rest of her sentence.
Understood. Attorneys Carlos Johnson and Fernando Mack, thank you both for taking time out of your busy schedules to come on this show with us and give us some insight into the battle that you all were fighting. You did such a fine job for Bionca Ellis. Not an easy job to do. We want to acknowledge that. Thank you both kindly.
Thank you, Julie.